Hey everyone. So we've got a lot of things working, and this is another attempt at a video trying to get things simple and to the point. So let's just get on with it. All right. Don't worry about that. I like to listen to some music sometimes in the background while working on stuff. But anyways, so you might think that there's nothing in the inventory. You'll see it mostly when you pick up the stuff, but generally, literally generally, you go into other and you'll have these sample objects. And that's because I've been picking them up here. And I've got this, working where you can interact with this person, kind of. Same kind of thing over here. So I got the UI where the thing literally kind of expands. Just something a little more visually tricky is what I was going for. And then if you look at their UI directly, you'll see that we've got the little animated thing here, but also the text is animated. So there's a little bit of like scrolling and a little slight glitch or whatever, just nuanced, so it's not like really aggressive. Of course, when you select your item up over here, and if it's the last thing you selected, it'll continue to have that little pulse. That way you know it's been selected in your list. I'm using a manual option for selecting male characters for your male account and female characters for your female account. That's why it's redded out, and I did it so it's like this, and then just kind of, fade on a red background, so it just has a nice effect, I think. And I just, this is my default guy, so. I couldn't get things to properly do your own upload, so that's why that's not in there now. Now, the other thing is, a lot of times when you're creating something like this, a lot of people do like a drop-down menu, or we'll have just this, and then you click different ones, but I decided to go a different route so that I can actually get the full list per category, so that it works similar to a drop-down, but isn't as ugly. In fact, I think this looks a lot cleaner. So basically I use the scroll view and just having it generate the same way that I have the drop-down list here generate content, and of course the ability to remove whatever, and ability to save over here. But on inventory and stuff, anytime you want to get back into the main thing, you just go to General, Other, and if it's special items, it'll only be there. If you have specific type of keys to unlock something, it'll be there. Collectibles over time, we'll put it there, like little trophies and whatnot, and quest items that you've picked up along the way, so you can later on drop it off in your own place. Now, one of the biggest problems that I found that I don't really see on tutorials, but I seem to have managed to get around it, is that when you first create your cloned drop item into another scene, it won't last on leaving and coming back. But as you see here, they all kind of gathered around here in the center waiting for me to come home, apparently. So these are all the ones that I dropped off in here already. Let's go ahead and get them. Because they'll continue to slide around, and they're not animated to do that. They just have a rigid body on them so that they continue to move and slide and bounce around. Because they're using gravity and kind of their own force. And I'm kind of showing you this because I'm trying desperately to figure out how to get the camera to stop clipping through walls. But I think that's going to be minor compared to what this achievement is now. So let's go ahead and drop one of the other items in there. So whenever it doesn't show up, just click other again and it'll be in there. So let's leave that. And we'll go back into here. And we can go back. It'll take a few seconds. Yeah, the loading was just... But anyway, there you go. There's that. You pick it back up. And now, the other thing that sometimes happens is after you've picked some stuff up in the other zone, sometimes when you try to pick up the same thing again in the previous area, it might gripe at you and crash, but I got around that one. So that's fixed. And the other thing is I've got these spawn things set up that if it already has an object on it now, it's not going to spawn until after it's removed. And now, you all seen the whole coins and destroys thing, so we're not going to do all that because it's not really new at this point. But I now have where if you're trying to click on this from a distance, it's not going to work. So you actually have to get within range where you'd actually have like an axe or something. And then I got it to where it's like it dies and goes away. And I got destroyed by overtime for that one. And then eventually it'll grow back. But I can set the settings now for how fast, and it's a randomizer on what items it'll drop. And the other thing is, you don't pass through it while it's growing. So I was able to get the colliders set up so it doesn't do that. Yeah, and now we got 2 that time instead of 3. And a bunch of logs. But yeah, this would basically be like a resource gathering stuff, and you use the left mouse to select it. Whereas with the other items, you know, like over here, you use E to pick them up or to activate the portals. Then I put the shader on there to make it more interesting. And you'll notice that the center now is working even better, where whatever it's connected to, whatever zone, it'll actually tell you the name of it and put you right back at 0. So let's go back in there again and we'll save it because I want to show you something else. Oh, I accidentally did that one. So let's go ahead and save here, go here. So we won't be going back to the main scene. That's why I need to create a portal to it going back in here. But that'll be easy. So if we use this instead of a portal, we'll be at ground 0 rather than at the portal. So something as simple as that. And of course now you can turn on all the ambient in here. This particular ambient's like really loud, so. And you can see I've gotten a lot of these bits working now where the flash, if I turn the stuff over to a certain angle, it'll kind of like come off to the side. I just haven't set it that way yet, but it was an experiment where it actually did work, so that's cool. Now the other thing, I want you to watch over here in the notice, because we're going to turn that off. If you click on here, you got your little pop-up there, but it also tells you what path, in the editor at least, that it went to. So in this case, we saved this whole screenshot, which means that we actually saved it to our pictures file under the folder that it created, which is something that, you know, we definitely want to do. So that's how it should be. Give me just a second to throw things in there for a different view of the stuff, because we definitely don't want to mess that one up. Okay. Just trying to find it on here. There we go. Yeah, I wasn't being effective the other way. But anywho, so if we want to go in here, it will create the photo for Cyberathia in your pictures section. Click on the snapshots, and there it is. So, of course, you can also deal with your own size view of how things look. But those are a lot of the improvements now, and I did something else that I said I was thinking of doing. If we use the main world to do the chat for whatever, put that in there, and I go to invisible mode, it's gone out of the world chat along with presence of players. Then if you're in clan and you got your friends in here and you go ghost mode, you'll still be seen in there and in like private chat, but if you're not there at the computer, you have AFK for away from keyboard. And sometimes people use that as like, I gotta take a nap, you know. And then of course you can sweep it all out, regardless which area you want it in. But you can also save the history. So let's go ahead and do that one more time. Turn off ghost mode, and then watch carefully. We got chat saved. So that means that you want to go into your documents folder, because your documents will literally hold all the collection, and it'll say cyber chat for this particular option in here. So let me get back on the screen. Nope, wrong one. Cyber chat. And then just to see proof of it, you click down on here, and there it goes. Gives you the date and time. So it's almost 11 o'clock here now, and there you go. You can delete the file if you decide not to, or you can save it for records if somebody's being a butthead and you want proof. And then there you go. But it gives you the little notice to let you know that you got that all cleared out, and then that's all saved. So you can pretty much just, you know, close this now. What else? I've got a preset for creating a friends list that'll pretty much use the same kind of functions, where it will show, you know, people in world. So you get the basic information here, over here. So same kind of thing. And if they have an active AOP, it'll show that. If not, it'll stay like this. And that's just when you do your people search. And this is just a set of basic. And then if you do friends, it'll be a different one. Working pretty much along the same principles that the other ones work with. how I got the inventory working with these, and using the same method for creating these. Makes it a lot easier. And then if you go into banned list, it'll be everybody that you've blocked, and you can also, you'll be able to, like, search for somebody, wait to see if their name shows up in the world, whether you're on friends or whatever. It'll actually, it's trying to pop it up. That's what I'm trying to get it to do anyways, and take you right to where the person's actually listed or named. Now here's the other thing about the inventory, speaking about named things. Don't know where a thing is? Just find the name. Remember it, type it in. And then here's another version of it. If I do capital. If I do some kind of weird mix of this and accidentally, when I'm trying to spell ball like that. So it'll look first like whatever list is, available by the time you get to the second. And then of course you got cube, so only that'll show up. Or if you spell it like the normal way, it won't, because we put it as queued. Alright, but if we spell it correctly, there it is. And then it's also dual cap locks. So there you go. And because you've got it on name, you've got it selected, so it's naturally doing a little pulsey effect. So there you go. With all that stuff is all part of the whole thing. And then of course trash either individual items, or if you want to get rid of a whole set, there you go, and they don't exist anymore. So while I'm working on more UI content and trying to get it set up so that, with a little bit of help with a little bit of refactoring key areas, I wanted to get the major functions in place so that we can, see what all is supposed to do what. Go ahead and close this out, go back in here and resave the main scene for now. But that really shows you a lot of the stuff that I've been working on and not slouching, as it were. And yeah. Oh, and I also have those working now better. It goes a little bit faster once you get into the scene. So here's like a prequel. I'm going to be replacing that land area anyways, because it's unfortunately accidentally tied to something else. So when I do edit in another scene with this one, I don't know why it messes it up. So I'll be taking this one out. But either way, you go to list, just so you can see it generated. And I was thinking about creating some kind of notice for that, but I was like, nah, that's excessive. If you want to check, just keep it open and, do it like that. And if you notice, you're not getting duplicates. Also, just selecting it once isn't going to force you in there. And that's so you can actually select that option and then choose whichever one you want to delete. Okay, we can go back to main land, or first landing. I'm not sure if I showed anybody this yet, but I'll take them over just in case. Now you have to actually be fairly close, reasonably so, in order to use the left mouse to chop down a tree, and then after a few minutes it'll grow back. Now I've got it set where I can make it a lot slower and more natural in mind. As far as, actually things growing back, more of a fake, but you get the point, I hope. And then I've got the UI for the NPCs working kind of weird. You just kind of watch that, it literally expands from the top and bottom in that main area, and then it closes it out. And I also have the text in here doing a little bit of its own thing. It's like I've got stuff happening here with the slight little bob effect, and the text doing its own fade in, type in, slight little glitch effect. The illumination that kind of goes through the color wheel slowly. And of course what people have already seen with the shader for that thing. And then of course, a music video I decided to put in here just for the heck of it. Because, listening to music seems to be helping me out a lot while doing this, especially inside the game. I don't know why, but it does. But just to kind of show you, if I leave that one on, and I turn it back on, then that's going to be the one that's going to appear on your list. So there's that. I just have to get it tied into the next system, which will be also using the left mouse rather than just to chop something down, which should also activate an animation from the character, but whatever. Just to be able to, like, if we're in a fight scene, grab a gun and point them and just start blasting, and then being able to, like, get a fast inventory sub thing here specifically for weapons gear. So you can have your list of stuff and be able to, like, equip it so that you can access it right away. Again, to reduce a lot of UI space and visual real estate, so you can get a better world view, as it were. And then of course the other thing with being able to click on people and getting, the general information, and being able to, like, invite them for, player-to-player interactions, like shaking hands, high fives, hugs, whatever. So something that our old project that some of us remember used to have those features for. And I think I may have, with the way this stuff got created, to figure out how to populate an animation list that will act to, trigger the character here. But that might be one of those situations like this, having to go a different route. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But that's going to be a little bit later. I want to get more of the UI handled. And that brings me to the conclusion of this video. So some things just can't be done until we get into the network. I can fake it, but pointless to do so. Anyways, thank you for taking the time to listen and check out all the new little thingamabobs that I've got going on. And you have a good night and enjoy the weekend. Take care, everyone.